guys, welcome back to another Tell Me More. Today we are going to read an email entry. I got it a couple months ago and I have been wanting to do a Tell Me More, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I'm not doing as much because I know sit down videos can get boring. So I have been trying to keep Tell Me Mores pretty simple and quick so that you guys can just turn them on whenever you're doing anything around the house, or you can just leave me on and I'll just blabber on. But today we have an email entry and she would love our advice. I have a few thoughts. There is no right or wrong. I am not giving you professional advice. I am giving you advice as a friend, as a sister, older or younger, doesn't matter. That also doesn't mean that I know everything in life. I haven't gone through everything in life, but I know a thing or two. So if you want any advice, if you want to share a funny story, if you want to share a crazy story, I love chisme, I love gossip. In a good way, of course. Send them my way. I will leave the email right here. I will also leave it in the descriptions for you guys if you guys want to share. You don't have to. Just saying that the option is there. But I'm gonna go straight into it. She wants her advice. Remember, when you're commenting down below, this is a real person. She's probably going to read these comments, and just make sure that you're being polite because this is someone's life. About 11 to 12 years ago, I was dating someone named P. We dated for about a year before an old best friend reached out. We'll call him M. It gets a little confusing with the names because there aren't real names, but just follow along. We'll call him M. Me and M had known each other since high school. He was my best friend through senior year and we spoke often. After high school, we lost contact. As far as P, we also went to high school together and always flirted. I also lost contact with P after high school. At the time, I reconnected with P and I had just broken up with an abusive ex who I had one kid with. P stepped up and helped me heal and also helped me with whatever I needed for my son, as his dad didn't care to help. Fast forward a year later and that's when M popped up. We talked here and there and I started developing feelings for him. One thing led to another and we slept together. I told P and he asked me not to see him or talk to him anymore. Well, a month later, I found out I was pregnant. The issue was I didn't know who the dad was. So I told P and M about the pregnancy and they both wanted to be involved. Nice guys. P asked me to drop M and not have him involved, and he would raise the kid as his own even if it wasn't his. I couldn't do that to M, so we continued this three-way relationship. They both knew I was seeing both of them. They both knew they would stay the night at my place at different times. Hell, P would pull up as M would be getting ready to leave and vice versa. They always waited until the other would leave to go upstairs. Fast forward to the birth of my second son, P ended the relationship and basically said that he would be there for the baby if it was his. Understandable. During the birth, M was present. The baby looked like M and we just assumed it was M's child. M and I dated on and off for 10 years. He played dad to both of my kids and would pick them up on the weekends. Currently, M and I are married. We got married a little over a year ago. My kids are now 13 and 10, but I can't shake the feeling of our 10-year-old not being his. I don't want to mess anything up with them, as this is the happiest I have ever been. But I also feel like I need to take a paternity test just to be sure. Should I take a test behind M's back? Should I tell him how I'm feeling and let him know I want to take the test? I just don't want him to feel the stress and worry I feel, but I also need to know. What should I do? Sorry this is so long, but I wanted to give you some background information. I also know that I'm a complete piece of shit for doing that to P. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Okay, I'm going to go into the answering questions, giving advice situation here. And if you guys know me and have watched my previous Tell Me Mores, you guys know I'm very logical and I look at every side of the story. Because I don't know the actual situation. As much as you guys can share with me on emails, it's just I don't know. I don't know every side of the story. There's also a lot of information I'm sure that is missing. As much as you want to fill me in, I'm never gonna get it. So I try to give as much, I go around the whole perimeter because I don't want to miss anything. So first things first, your kids are now 13 and 10, which means it's been well over 10 years since you've spoken to P. I just feel like, personally, if I'm going to be straight off the bat, I don't think you should get a paternity test. But let me tell you why. I understand why, as a mother, you want a paternity test. However, think about it. Your youngest son is now 10. He has created this relationship with M. who he thinks is his father, I'm assuming. I understand for selfish reasons you want to know who the father is, but I would think, and I'm not putting words into your mouth, I'm just saying I would think if I was in your situation, if I were to think about my child, I wouldn't do it, because how are you going to tear up his world and tell him that not only the man that was caring for him is not his biological father, and that there's another man that you have no relation with at all because he left. So then the kid could either go between, oh my gosh, I was abandoned, or oh my gosh, like this has been a lie. He's young. He's about to enter like puberty time soon in a couple years. It's just, I don't think that it's a good step. And here's the thing, your husband, M, is your husband. I guess like, I understand why you want a paternity test. Why wouldn't you want to know? You want to know why. I would want to know. I would literally be dying to know. I think the perfect time to have done it was when you were dating the two. So I get why. It's just, I feel like if you get it, you're gonna, and say it happens to be P's kid, you're gonna want to tell him. You're gonna want to tell P, and then P is gonna want to be a part of his life. And then your youngest son is gonna be like, what the hell? This man I don't know is randomly saying he's my father, so then the last 10 years of my life was just a lie? There's just a lot of consequences to it. I do think, however, your kids are your kids. You are allowed to make your own decisions for yourself. If you need this, you need it. And if you need to do it, you need to do it. If you're there emotionally for your children to get through it, I guess not the oldest, kind of, but not really, but more of the youngest. If you're there emotionally and you feel like you could take this on, go for it. I'm just thinking that if it were me as a 10-year-old, it would be really hard to understand why maybe you as a mom, like, why did you keep it from me? Did you know this whole time? It's just, he's at a very fragile age where he's not going to be able to understand it, even if you try your best to explain it. I do think, however, privately, you are allowed to have this conversation with M. And you've said it yourself, you're very happy in your relationship. I feel like naturally as husband and wife, you are allowed to express your feelings and your concerns, and he should be there for you. He should support you. But I do think you should get an opinion from him, because maybe he's saying, but then what about me, you know? Like, what happens when we find out it is P's and it's not mine, you know? And then he's gonna feel like, where do I fit in here? Because I love you and I love the kids. So I would definitely have a conversation with your husband. I think it's a very important conversation to have if it's literally killing you, because it's been 10 years now and you're saying that you're now still thinking about it. I think it's definitely a topic you should talk about with your husband. And it should be a decision you make with your husband. I don't think you should make this decision alone, because he's raised these kids for the last 10 years, and he's also clearly been in love with you for the last 10 years. He stuck around even when there was another man, and he stuck around raising your youngest child knowing that he could potentially not be the father. I know you mentioned they look alike, so you assumed it, but still. However, if I'm gonna give you solid advice of yes or no, I say don't do it. I think there's a lot more consequences. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode of Tell Me More. If you guys are interested in sending an email entry, please do. I love reading them. I can't promise that I'll always get to every single one of them, but if you email me, I promise I do read. Let me know if you also want me to answer in private, because I can do that as well. I don't always have to share it with the internet. But thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you guys in another Tell Me More. Bye!